Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Michigan here with another battle breakdown for you. And in this time, I'm going to be talking about our strategy for this battle on Highway, as well as some of the tips and tricks for this map. So, as we get things rolling here, I'm going to talk about our initial call and our lineup. So I have brought, what I was hoping for was 4 260s, but we have one IS-7 in there. Not a problem as well. Color flexibility is super important, and we're going to send those up to Golf 2. We're going to send our 2 TVPs out to the left, along with our TVP, and our Leopard is going to hang out middle. All of our Chieftains are going to come up the Echo line. And now let's talk about the reasoning for this as we pause for the first time this battle. Now, the goal for the 260s and the IS-7 over there, we're just going to refer to them as our Russian heavies, is to just get up to A2 or maybe against the ramp at A1. They're not trying to take the back corner, and that's super important that they don't, because I expect those enemy Chieftains here, and the enemy team is down one, should be noted. The Chieftains are expected to hang out in CD1, which is fairly standard. Now, I was a little bit thrown off by this 277, but not a worry, as we have 2 EBRs, and we have 3 mediums, so about a third of our team, and some Chieftains, so probably about half of our team is able to engage that Chieftain within a couple of seconds there. Now, what's the goal here? So the goal is to use our mediums and our lights to clean out whatever they have on the south side of the map, so anything on the opposite side of the road, and then pressure the cap circle. What this does is it takes some of the pressure off of the A2 corner, which will slowly hemorrhage hit points if the enemy team does manage to get up on that ridgeline, as well as allow the Chieftains to cut the enemy team in half, both support the southern side of the map, as well as helping out the upper side of the map. Now, this is very dicey for the Chieftains as well, as they often are below the enemy guns, and this is a little bit risky against some gun depression vehicles. Now, once we take this corner, Chieftains are then free to work around the ridgeline, just minding the Golf 2 corner. So, as we get through this, I'm going to go back to my view. Taking a punt there at the 277, it's very important that we don't stop for too long if we're going to take a shot. So you can see I'm going to stop there just for a second, and I did take a hit from the KPC, and that's exactly why we really don't want to stop. Now, Tequila has stopped, but he's gone under the rail, so he's okay. And here come the enemy tanks. Now, let's take a look at the positioning right now. Our 2 EBRs, and as we're about at a minute. We'll wait for it to go down, and we'll just do a 1-minute review. We can call it that. We'll take a look. All right. 1 minute into the battle, we already have a lot of development. Our 2 EBRs, who are somewhere over there, out of render, right in those tree lines, they have effectively kicked their EBR back to the cap circle. Our TVPs are now free. Our Leopard is hanging out. He's sort of supporting everything. Our 260s and our IS-7, our Russian heavies, have taken what they need to take, and we now have Chieftains rotating all along this ridge, as well as starting to come underneath. We have Tequila there engaging the 277. Looks like a solid win. So far, we have not achieved what we want. Our biggest issue right now is going to be these 2 Chieftains in front of me, and you can see that Artillery Strike is going to give them a lot of problems. Now, why did I drop it where I dropped it? Because I like to really analyze the Artillery Strike, as it's a great tool. Well, you can see I've dropped it so that the furthest ring is past the stairs. That means that they can't sit behind that building without getting hit by the arty strike. So that's really all we're trying to get. They're either going to have to back all the way through it, which will expose them to anybody who tries to get along this ridge or anybody who comes into the middle, and they can't pull forward to continue firing. So worst case scenario, they get out, or best case scenario for them, they get out, and worst case for them is they get stuck behind that strike. So you can see they're already taking damage. It is 50 per hit, and as this is a level 10, it is 1,000 total damage. So it'll be 2,000 hit points off of them there. We're going to continue to watch, and this is what happens when you sit in the Artillery Strike. Now, a bit of a misplay by me there, as I poke up, and that's not the last time I'm going to get hit by that 279. So, as it's now down to 8:30, we're a minute and a half into this game. So where are we at now? Well, we have our EBRs and our TVPs who have called to go straight for cap. Now, why did I do that? Well, let's take a look using our very handy tool on the left, and we can see that everything's spotted other than 1 EBR and 1 Chieftain. And that last unspotted Chieftain is actually right in front of me, and there's no way he got back. even if he did get back, it would still be a fairly big overmatch for 2 EBRs and 2 TVPs. We also have Tequila, who I offered one chieftain, as I didn't mention earlier. I said if one chieftain does want to attempt to play any of these ramps, they can, as it does give enemies a lot of problems, and they actually have to go down there to get him, unless Tequila does poke up just a touch too much. But we'll take a look at that later. Now our 277s and our Russian heavies have now taken the artillery strike. They have just happily backed down, and they're able to do that because Gunny and Scott over there are able to support them as well as the Leopard. So they have some nice cover over the top. We have LT and Rocket there covering the opposite side. I'm pushing on the right side to try and keep this KPZ at bay. And then we have our mediums and everything else coming up. So we're really putting our foot on the gas. And because of our early aggression, we're up 2 tanks. Remember, the enemy was down 1. And I don't ever discount an enemy because they're down 1 tank. If they're down 2, it's a severe disadvantage. But what enemies really need to do is be aggressive. And that's exactly what the enemy team has done here to try and get an early advantage to get those hit points back up. Unfortunately, it has not worked out for them so much. We've lost a little bit of our hit point lead, but nothing too bad as we're slowly making it back up. Now let's take a look at our EBRs again because a lot develops here. We'll pause it again at 8 minutes and we'll talk about the next round of calls. Alright, so where are we at? I've just taken a hit from a 279. So their 279 has started to rotate back. They have a KPZ over there as well. So now they have 3 tanks dedicated against the 5 that are over there. We have Busy just running through them with his EBR. Great EBR player. Cookie's getting some nice shots. And we got Tequila just coming up the ramp. And our TVPs are about to make contact. So the enemy team knows that their cap is threatened. Now the goal here is not to cap out. The goal is to threaten the enemy vehicles of us capping that they have to send tanks back. And it's kind of like forcing a checkmate in chess. If they don't come back, they're going to get capped out. But if they do, we're going to kill them. So a lot of times we'll use that strategy of just threatening the cap circle, knowing that we can get reset, because this isn't the easiest cap to hide in, especially if the enemies have broken a lot of the buildings, which it looks like they've broken a little bit. But by having other tanks in various positions to stop them from coming back, any attempt at resetting is going to cost them a lot of hit points. So KPZ is getting hit in the back there. You can see our chieftains are all around this ridge. Now we're taking a decent amount of hits here, and we're actually fluctuating a little bit in our hit points as we're sort of going 1 for 1. But we have now gone up 4-2 kills. We did lose an EBR, the EBR who is running through the enemy team, which is absolutely okay. We're going to take casualties. And we did lose a chieftain over there, Gunny, who fell victim to, I think, a 277 or something. Maybe just a touch too loaded. Now, I'm going to work on trying to cut off these chieftains, and this is what I was talking about earlier. We can use this center line to split the enemy forces and overwhelm it, so that they're unable, the two groups are unable to support each other. So we're going to just keep this going. Now, those chieftains are all held down. It does make it a little bit difficult for our heavy tanks over there to engage them. Now, what do we have over here? We have a TVP who's taking big chunks out of this 279. I'm going to look for some shots as well. And again, from this position, I can support both sides using this building as cover. If the enemy tanks over here are looking at me, I can use the building. If these tanks on the left are trying to shoot me, I can back down the ridge. Obviously, I wasn't the smartest with my hit points. However, I have managed them enough to where I can still take a hit or two in this game and be okay. It's important not to start managing your health once you hit, 200 or 100 or 300 health. You really want to start managing it once you get down, below about half, and really start thinking, where can I afford to lose hit points? The goal in the game is not to stay on 100% hit points. That's not beneficial to the team at all. The goal is to trade effectively, so maybe for every one shot you take, you dish out 2. If every tank did that, we would win every game. But obviously that's not going to be the case. So as we start to wrap up this game, you can see that we were able to isolate each group and overmatch each group, as these tanks here were able to effectively overmatch. And using our early kills, our early 4 kills against the enemy, we were able to overmatch the chieftains in here mainly through staying patient. So I hope you enjoy this replay. Now, just a heads up, if you are watching this from another clan, this is not always what we do on Highway. A lot of these strategies are based off of how the advance is going, as well as what we've seen enemies do in the past. If an enemy tends to camp a lot, and this could be beneficial for you, we're going to bring a lineup to break a camp. If enemies tend to push, we're going to be a little bit more passive, try and identify where you're going, and then counter it from there. And that's just me as a caller. And remember that just because I'm in a game doesn't mean I'm calling. So actually, using this information too seriously can actually damage your chances to win in advance quite a bit. Not that there's a lot of people who are trying to use it. Hopefully you're able to use it for your own benefit rather than just trying to beat a class or any other class family clan who may be using this strat as well. So just something to think about there. Well, thank you so much for watching. If you have any suggestions as to how I could improve this strategy in particular in relation to what the enemy have chosen to do, as every battle is different, let me know. If you have a way that you would beat this strat, let me know as well, and I'll catch you in the next one. See ya.